A basketball game. How about Jimmy Butler? We're going to get one more on Sunday, then get four more. Miami Heat, in a game that very few outside of their organization, frankly, in their city, thought they'd win. They forced a seventh and deciding game Sunday night in Miami. We welcome you to SportsCenter from our nation's capital. I'm Scott Van Pelt. We will hear from both teams. One of tonight's stars is going to join the show. Not sure who just yet, so there's his tease. Stick around. Stephen A. Smith will join us for reaction from Boston. Tim Legler, as only Tim can do, breaking down Butler and the defense on Tatum in the fourth quarter. And that is where we begin our show, as the fourth quarter, where this back and forth game was ultimately going to be won and lost. And Jimmy Butler battling through that knee situation. A foul there, and that was key because Boston challenged it. Okay? Boston challenged that foul. That foul call stood. 7-point lead. Butler, he did so much of that. Hard reverse pivot. They led by 9 early fourth. You had to figure that Boston would make a run. Here it comes. Derek White, he was huge in the fourth. Hits 1-3. Corner three, no, but it's going to be just as effective because it's three the hard way. After the drive, he draws the foul, hits the bucket, and White lighting that fuse in the building. It's a 4-point game. Under 9 to go. Tatum. Bucket and the foul. Hold the phone. That's offensive, and they can't challenge. Yeah, you see, Coach, he said, what the is that? You tell me. Offensive? That left arm is out. They couldn't challenge. 3-point game, tie game. Horford hits the big three. Under 6 to go. After they get a stop, good ball movement. It's White. He's nude in the corner. Sometimes you got to wait. It's a hard shot to hit. Not for White. Big time three. They lead by 3. Kyle Lowry, he's been struggling so much. What an answer from a guy who has been on this big stage before. Jimmy Butler attacks. That's the bucket and the foul. It's a 4-point lead. And then with the shot clock winding down, it's Butler again. Impossible to overstate just how big he came up. And then late, 4-point game, Jaylen Brown on the attack. Initially, it was called a block, but they reviewed Oladipo not inside the circle. They change it, overturn the call, an offensive foul, and the Miami Heat go into Boston after looking wretched in games 4 and 5 and force a game 7. How'd they do it? Well, you start with Jimmy Butler. Nearly a 40-point triple-double. It marked Butler's fourth 40-point game this postseason, 47 in this one. It's the most by any player in the playoffs and the most in a single postseason game in Heat history. The Heat handed the Celtics their 5th consecutive loss with a chance to book a trip to the NBA Finals, which dates back to the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, where LeBron's Heat overcame a 3-2 deficit to bounce the Celtics in 7. 2012 meeting is the only Game 7 all-time between these two franchises. Heat 6-4 all-time in Game 7s. Celtics are a whopping 25-9. You're not going to find anybody with more Game 7 experience. They have both the most wins and the best winning percentage among teams to play Game 7s. Tim Legler is with us. And Tim, man, we've been complaining. Let's be honest. The playoffs haven't been awesome. This game was fantastic. All you want is great players to play great. Butler did. Turning point in the fourth. What do you got for me?
Yeah, this is the single greatest individual performance we've seen in the postseason. What you saw tonight out of Jimmy Butler, the circumstances, the way he played coming off that game.
Postseason.
Absolutely.
Right.
Within this postseason, without question. And this is, to me, by far the biggest possession of the game. This is after the Celtics had hit a couple of threes. You know, this is what Boston is trying to accomplish. And at all costs, they want to keep this guy right here, Marcus Smart, right? Defensive player of the year. You want to keep him on Butler. So what they're trying to do is these hard shows and have Marcus Smart get back to him. So you're going to see Strus come up here and set the screen and then peel out. And what Boston is trying to do, you've got the initial defender, you got the second defender. They want White to show, and then he's going to run out, hoping that Jimmy Butler doesn't turn the corner with a hard line drive, because if he does, you can see Marcus Smart is out of position to track this down. So he's behind the play the entire time, and then the guy that it puts pressure on is Al Horford. He's standing here watching it, but Butler gets past him so quickly that Horford can't react. This is just a great read by Butler, and it's a blown coverage by Boston because of a bad angle by Marcus Smart. That's the biggest possession of the game. And then on the other end, here's what they started doing to Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter. They just aren't going to allow him to operate one-on-one. He gets the matchup he wants. This is the guy he wants to play against, but he's not just playing against him. You got 4 defenders back there on the back line waiting. As he starts to go, Scott, watch the way they collapse on Tatum, forced to kick out 3. You get the miss. That's how they played Tatum the entire fourth quarter.
And Tucker comes up with a big rebound, some big steals. And Tim, I'm gonna call it 20 real quick because we got PJ Tucker with us right now live. We will come back to this, and I welcome PJ Tucker back to the program. PJ, welcome back to the show. It's Scott Van Pelt, man. Thanks for taking a moment to visit after just an incredible game. Look, the last 2 were struggles for you guys. You've been through this so many different times with so many different teams. Take me in your guys' locker room. The game's about to tip. It's 8:30, and you know you got to get a win. What's the sort of the vibe in the room and the belief that you had that you could get this victory, which you did?
It couldn't have been stronger, honestly. We sit in the locker room with a bunch of guys
half hour away. Celtics behind those 2 stars looking to try to advance to the NBA Finals for the first time in 12 years. And you see there on the screen, so this year for the first time they have Conference Finals MVP.
Legend.
Last night, Steph Curry won the first ever Magic Johnson Western Conference Award. And tonight, if the Celtics are able to win the series appropriately in this building, a Celtic will win the first ever Larry Bird Trophy. As of this moment, Michael Wilbon, who do you think deserves it?
Oh, to be determined tonight by the fourth quarter. Tatum, Brown, Smart, or Williams. I mean, suppose somebody just has a dominant performance. I mean, suppose Tatum has one of those 40-point games, or Brown has a triple-double and locks somebody up defensively. I'm all 4 of those guys are still in the running. I mean, Bam has had no series in large part because of Robert Williams. So all 4 of those guys are in the running for me, and I'm going to sit here and decide accordingly.
As of right now, Stephen A., who deserves it?
There is no definitive name to me. It comes down to Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Either one could win this award, but I do want to take a moment to say something that I think is very, very important. Larry Bird, for example, having this trophy named after him, it's not just because of his greatness. We talk about Michael Jordan and how Michael Jordan elevated the brand that is the NBA to a global stratosphere. Well, he took the baton from Magic and Larry Bird. Those 2 dudes, what they did for the game of basketball, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to have both of their names on a trophy like this, a conference champion MVP trophy. I love it.
That's well said. And again, to have a historically great player win the first one in the West like Steph Curry, and then maybe a Celtic win the first one. Jalen, what do you think?
I have an answer going into tonight's game, and it's Jaylen Brown, because he's been the most consistent offensive weapon for the Celtics, averaging 25 points, shooting 45% from 3. You know he's going to get an effort defensively. And so for right now, I think that continues in today's game in particular. Right now, he's my answer.
That's fair. And look, I understand that Robert Williams is not likely to win this because the numbers won't suggest, the offensive numbers will not suggest that he played the role that he has. But in my personal opinion, having watched the series here with all of you, if I had to vote right now, I would vote for Robert Williams. I think the impact he has had on the defensive end of the floor, particularly taking Bam Adebayo out of the series. If I had to vote right now, I would vote for Williams.
I got something for you to double down on what you said. In particular, defensively, Bam Adebayo has treated the paint like it's surrounded by an electronic fence, where Robert Williams has been inside of it along with Al Horford. And how he's done it with his ability to think, analyze, and recover defensively. Check this out, Stephen A.
Okay.
He's guarding P.J. Tucker. He helps on the pick and roll with Victor Oladipo. Look at this. Rejection. He swats the runner by P.J. Tucker. Now watch this one. He's in the paint as a help side defender. Contests the pass, jumps like a wandering albatross that has a 12.1-foot wingspan and blocks a three-point shot. That's what you was talking about earlier.
Right.
Blocks a three-pointer. Now, why is he able to do that? Because of coaching. Ime put him on the baseline to be a help defender when if Bam beats his man, but also to recover for corner jump.
Well, keep in mind, multiple block shots in 7 consecutive postseason games. No Celtics have done that since 1982 with Robin Parrish. We get all of that, but let me annoy the Grinch. which is Kendrick Perkins, because he always gets on me because I think offense instead of defense. And I'm going to do it again. Jaylen Brown, like you said, he's been balling. Had a lot of turnovers, though, but Jason Tatum has had turnovers, too. It's one of those two that would get the award for me if they win the night.
You see the numbers on here. He's had 3 different games in the last several